Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me today for my review of the 1984 classic, The Karate Kid. One of my all time favorite 80s films, and possibly one of my favorite films just in general. The film was directed by John G. Avildsen and stars Ralph Macchio, William Zabka, Pat Morita, Elisabeth Shue, and Martin Kove. And I think part of the lasting popularity of The Karate Kid is certainly the television show Cobra Kai, which I haven't gotten a chance to see yet, but I really want to. It's definitely on my watch list for 2022. But I think the other reason that Karate Kid is so fondly remembered and why they were even able to make a successful television show now is because of how high quality the film is. I always feel like Karate Kid, although a well liked film, was maybe a little bit underappreciated for just how good it was, if that makes sense. And the plot is pretty typical. It's about a young man named Daniel who moves to a new city. And of course, as he moves, he has some run ins and some problems with some of the fellow students at his new school. Of course, he meets a girl there. All the typical coming of age story things. But I think the thing that really makes Karate Kid stand out, besides the really strong acting, this movie is very well acted for this type of film, is that I think that while the teen story isn't that unique, it's handled very realistically and feels very authentic. And also, there's a second plot to this movie where it's just a legitimate and very believable friendship that develops between a teacher and a student. So, like I said, I really like the way the plot is handled in this film. We kind of almost have two sides of this movie, like a coming of age story and a young man learning karate. And the two plots go together very well throughout the film. Like I said, everything feels very real and authentic. Nothing feels like a stereotype. Everything is very unique, including the way the training is done in this film. I particularly love. This isn't just a typical, we watch someone train and learn martial arts the conventional way. The teacher, played by Pat Morita, who was nominated for an Oscar for this role, and he's excellent in it, of course. The training methods that he uses are very unconventional, but when everything comes together, it really makes sense and it helps develop the friendship part of the film. I thought this was very clever writing, and it was nice to see something a little bit different. Now, this film is a little bit over 2 hours long, which normally for this kind of film I would say might be a little too lengthy. But while the main plot does take a while to get going in this film, I think in this case the slow build-up really works. I think it makes the end of the film really rewarding. And by the climax of this film, I was really, really invested in what's going on. So, if I had to say a few little critiques of this film, like I said, it does take a while to get going. So, if you're someone who loves fast paced action, although this film is called The Karate Kid, there's not really tons of action sequences in the film. There's a few here or there, but most of the action takes place at the end. The other thing I will say, to be fair, is although the ending fight scenes worked for me, I don't think they're greatly choreographed, or this isn't like a movie you watch to see great technical martial arts action. The reason it works so well for me is because of my investment in the characters, not necessarily in some of the way the fights were done, although I do think the very final fight is very well done and worth watching. But, like I said, not one that you watch to see all kinds of crazy high-flying stunt work or anything like that. As far as the other technicals go, they're all fine. The score's pretty good. A lot of great 80s songs. I think this one has kind of an underrated soundtrack. I mean, the way Bananarama's Cruel Summer is used in this film is just amazing. There's some other good songs in here as well. The other technicals are what they are. The cinematography's fine. The editing's fine. Little choppy in some of the fight scenes, but overall, it gets the job done. Everything else is fine. The sound design. Not really a need for a lot of special effects or anything like that. Everything's adequate. This film all comes down to the script, the direction, and the acting, and they're all very good. So I definitely recommend Karate Kid to anyone who loves a lot of 80s films or just wants to see the origins of Cobra Kai, which, like I said, I really need to watch. One other thing I wanted to mention, there were 3 sequels and a remake to this film. I've never seen the remake, but I have seen the 3 sequels, and I know everybody kind of has ones they like and don't like. I'm not really a big fan of part 2 that much. Part 3 and Next Karate Kid are fine. They have their ups and downs, but I don't think any of the films captured the magic of the original. So that will do it for my review of the 1984 Karate Kid film, Karate Kid, excuse me. Thank you very much for watching.